Good morning, sports fans. I'm Scott Kirby, along with co-host today, Jon Oliver. John's a Lincoln High School grad, 2009, and you're in the cheap seats in studio today here at Christian Village. We got Coach Curt Courtwright, Lincoln High School baseball coach. Thanks for coming in, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
You got a game today, a doubleheader in Mahomet Seymour.
Correct.
So that's a little bit of a drive,
Yep.
2 o'clock start,
Yep.
doubleheader, so makes for a long day. Just kind of going over some stats here. Well, before we get into that, how did your week go? I know we had some, Illinois weather last weekend. You had a doubleheader against Pontiac. Just kind of tell the listeners how that went, and then, we'll go from there.
Okay. We played Pontiac in a doubleheader and won both of those games. I thought we played pretty well, and like I said, they were a good team. They could hit, and so we pulled out 2 W's, so I was very happy with that. And then we played Taylorville at home Tuesday, and we ended up losing that game. Some crazy dramatics. We were down 6 runs going into the 7th and ended up tying it up and going into extras and still lost. So that one's kind of bittersweet for me. I'm glad our guys came back. I'm proud of the way they didn't give up, but I didn't think we should have been in that position to begin with because we didn't play our best baseball. So. And then, we have that game, and we're looking forward to going back and, beating them on Wednesday and, getting some payback. And then all of a sudden the weather hits, and who knows? I don't even know when we're playing them again. So,
yeah, well, it's that's Illinois weather for you.
Yep.
70 degrees last Saturday, a little windy. 3 days later, it's about 30 degrees and raining. So that's just the benefits of living in Central Illinois.
Yep.
So, we played Taylorville. That was your last game, so you're gonna, get them back together today. Make the bus trip up to Mahomet. What kind of team does Mahomet Seymour have?
They're always good. I think they hit. Last year we played them. I think they beat us both times pretty good. So they're, like I said, that team can just hit, and they're a solid team. I'm not exactly sure what their record is, but I'm sure it's right up there with ours. And so it should be. Once again, we're gonna have to play well to get 2 W's. So.
Well, speaking of hitting, kind of just looking over some of the stats here. You got Ryan Sloan batting .462. You're batting .462 in the majors. You're a stud. Now, how does that translate to high school baseball? What kind of average are you looking for? Around
Right.
300 or?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially .462 with these new bats, the BB Core bats that they make everyone use in high school has really affected it. So. I think if you hit over 330 in high school, that's a very good average. From what I think and what I've talked to people, these new bats probably drop you down 40 points compared to normal. So if you hit 330, a few years ago when you're using the new bats, you're probably hitting 370. So like I said, I think anything around 330 area, something like that, is very, very good.
So you're talking the regulated bats. When did this take effect? Because I know when I was playing, we wanted to find the biggest barrel, the biggest Easton that we could find to get that sweet spot. So now they kind of regulate the diameter on these bats.
Absolutely. More of it's the exit speed. Bats used to be like, even when I was in college, we got to use whatever bats we really wanted, and they would create a trampoline effect. And what we found out ways to cheat. Everyone did. You take a $400 bat, you put it right behind your car and run over it. And all that would do is just compact that bat and create a trampoline effect. And so balls were flying all over, and it became unsafe for pitchers and players, in the infield. So now the IHSA and actually college baseball has this too. It's called BB Core. And it basically, all the bat companies had to slow down the ball coming off the bat to make it safer. So it makes guys become better hitters. You cannot get away with having a bad swing and consistently hit. So that's pretty much what it does.
So before game, do the umpires come over and they check your bats just to make sure you're legal, or it's just kind of a...
Well, they ask us. They say, coaches, is everybody properly equipped and legal equipment? And we say yes. And if anything comes into the game that's not legal, then we get kicked out. So it's on the coaches and on the players to make sure that everybody's bats are legal.
And do you ever see maybe in the future everybody going to a wooden bat just to make it a safer game? Or
right. I don't know. I have no idea. I think it would definitely help kids' swings, but I think the cost, $300 is a lot for a bat, but you can make that last 2 years.
Right.
You get a bad wood bat, that thing's going to break immediately. And if you get a good one, and it's a $100 wood bat, you're going to go through 3 or 4 of those in a season, I bet. So, because when I was playing, summer ball, we used all wood, and I can't tell you how many bats I went through. So it's expensive. So
and it probably slows down the game a little bit. Less runs scored, or maybe speed up the game, I should say, because it favors the pitcher, because you're not getting that extra, pop off of aluminum bat that as far as a wood bat goes.
Right.
Pitching wise, we touched a little bit about this last week. Your top dog, Eric Hopp, your leading pitcher with 18 and a third innings pitched. Right behind him, Brent Hunsley and Ryan Sloan. Probably you say you have 5 guys that could pitch any given day. So that's a pretty good problem to have. How did they look this week, and are they getting stronger as the season goes?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I think Ryan didn't pitch his best game against Taylorville, but he battled and kept us in the game. And then Hunsley came in and pretty much shut him out the rest of the game. Once again to give us a chance to make our comeback. So. I think they both pitched well, and they're just competitors. That's the biggest thing. You're not always going to have your best stuff every day, as long as you compete and give us a chance. That's all I ask for.
John, you got anything over there?
Yeah, I remember seeing Curt walking around high school when I was just a little freshman, and big guy around the high school in the hallways. What's it like to come back to your alumni school and just take over as the baseball coach?
It's different. It's hard to explain. I know exactly what you mean. Last year was a little bit more difficult than this year. I've kind of gotten used to it, but yeah, exactly. Walking in as not a student, even though I'm still pretty young, and these guys are all fun, and I love being around them. It is a little bit difficult for me to realize, hey, dude, you're not in high school anymore. You're a teacher, a coach. You need to yell at them when they do something stupid. You can't laugh. That's probably the biggest thing that's difficult, because like I said, with our baseball guys are so good. I mean, they're just great kids and everything like that. So it becomes a little difficult to to be their coach instead of just laugh and go along with them. So no, but it's fun though. I absolutely love it. I didn't want to be anywhere else. I always knew when I was playing that if I ever coached I wanted it to be Lincoln. I love this town, and they treated me really good in high school. So I just felt like I needed to come back and give back to the community. So
after Missouri State, that's where you played baseball, right?
Yep.
Was it your first option, like, hey, I want to be a baseball coach, or what did you actually want to do?
I wasn't really sure. I mean, I got to play a little bit of pro ball. Obviously, everybody's dream. I wanted to make it as far as I could there. When I got released, then I wanted to play football. Almost made that happen. And then, then I realized, man, I want to coach, because, I couldn't get away from sports. I absolutely love the sports, and I love the game, and so I really wanted to come back, and I was, before I even got the head coaching job, I was going to come back and be an assistant football and assistant baseball. That was my plan for the past, the year before I even came back, and then the head coaching job opened up, and I applied and got it. So.
That's awesome. And I'm going to ask you one final question. Can you talk about your seniors a little bit? I know I got a neighbor, Brent Hunsley. He lives right down the street, and I heard his first at-bat was a home run.
Yeah.
And I kind of tease him about it every time I see him, saying it's not true. Just tell me about your seniors a little bit, if you could.
Yeah, we have 11 of them, and they're unbelievable. I don't know what I'm going to do without them next year. Their leadership, their work ethic, it's unbelievable. How hard they play, and how they're together. Even though some of them might be sitting the bench that day, that game, they're still up in the dugout. They're still, rooting for their teammates, their buddies. I think they realize that this is it, for them. They got, I think, 4 or 5 weeks left of high school, and they realize this is it. And like I said, they've worked hard. They worked hard for me last year. Our off season, I mean, they were there every single day. I felt like our entire off season, getting ready for this year. So. Most of them are having really good success, and they deserve it because they've worked really hard. So
that's awesome to have leaders there. Thanks, Curt.
Yep, thank you.
Well, Curt, thanks for coming in. I know you got to get prepared, get all packed up for that about, hour and a half bus drive, maybe?
Yeah, I just hope it's warm, man. I'm tired of this. I went scouting the other day at Jacksonville. The game didn't start till 6:30, and I've never been so cold in my life. And I'm just sitting there, and I don't even have to be there. It was horrible.
Yeah, I remember those days. Even summertime Lincoln Heat, they start their season now too, and we've had some games over in Mount Zion. It's just like, it's so cold. You're sitting in the car watching the kids are out playing, and
Yeah.
it's just miserable. But
Yep.
good luck today. We'll get you back in maybe next week if your schedule allows. I know you're getting right down in the heart of the season right now, where you got to concentrate on getting your kids ready for the regionals and stuff like that. So thanks for stopping in once again. Rayler baseball doubleheader over in Mahomet Seymour, 2 o'clock start. So you guys don't have anything to do today, make that little hour-and-a-half drive and support your Rayler baseball team. We're going to take a commercial timeout. We come back, we'll have some more sports news for you. We got Joe Hilliard, administrator here at the Christian Village, is going to be stepping in for an interview a little bit later. So stay tuned. You're in the cheap seats. Welcome back to the cheap seats. Scott Kirby, Jon Oliver, co-host today. We are at Lincoln, or the Christian Village in Lincoln, the newly remodeled and completely updated. The Christian Village is Lincoln's only faith-based retirement community and is the area's leader for independent, assisted, and skilled senior living and healthcare services, including dementia care. The Christian Village provides quality, compassionate care in a loving Christian environment, offering a wide array of living options for older adults, such as independent living, rehabilitation, skilled nursing, and memory care. The Christian Village, located at 1507 7th Street in Lincoln. For a private consultation and tour of the campus, please call Kara at 217-732-2189. Once again at the Christian Village, and we have Joe Hilliard in with us today. She's an administrator here at the Village. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Just to start off here, you've worked at the Christian homes before, right? Mm-hmm. Correct?
Right.
And what brings you back?
Christian Village is a unique environment. We have, as you mentioned earlier, it's faith-based. We start out meetings with prayer. We, when problems come up, we use prayer. It's a wonderful uniting experience, and you can't go wrong when you're looking to God for help. So.
Right. And how long have you been with the Christian homes?
On and off for about 7 years.
7 years. What is the biggest challenge for people coming into a nursing home for most people? What's their biggest to overcome? I know it's got to be emotional and just kind of a change of atmosphere for individuals that have to go this route.
Right. There are a lot of roadblocks and obstacles. I think one of the biggest ones is that stigma. A lot of times parents will say, whatever you do, don't put me in a nursing home. And then the family, having promised that at one point, has to come up against the cold hard fact that really is the best option. One of the other big obstacles, if you're not coming straight from a hospital, there's a lot of front-end work to do to enter a nursing home. Mm-hmm. And not, coming right when you're thoroughly exhausted and saying, I've got to do this today, doesn't work, because there's, several weeks of preparation that has to happen. So I would recommend families, if they are thinking, hey, this is coming up, they need to get in touch with a nursing home of their choice right away to start those balls rolling.
Do you guys have counselors here? Because I know it's I've kind of been through it, where it's a tough decision for a son or daughter to have to put your parent in a nursing home.
It is.
So the transition from living on their own, taking care of themselves, and that transition coming here. Do you have counselors to kind of help families, make that move?
We have some wonderful people who work in social services who can help. Our chaplain is also very, very skilled at talking to people and listening to them. I think this is the most important thing. And our admissions person, although I don't know how much training she's had in counseling, she really does a very good job of listening and trying to help people overcome the emotional obstacles.
And Joe, just a couple questions for you. Mm-hmm. It can be difficult when choosing a nursing home for your loved one. What are some recommendations you would give people when looking for a nursing home?
One of the most obvious ones is just go visit. And especially if you stop by without announcing yourself ahead of time, you're going to find a good nursing home is ready to receive you at any time.
Okay.
And, they may not always have time to do a thorough walkthrough with you. If you want a good tour, you're going to come during business hours so that someone extra is available. But if you want to just see how things run on a 24/7 basis, come anytime.
Yeah. Okay. And another follow-up question. You guys have the only Alzheimer's unit in the area.
Mhm.
What are some challenges, and can you just describe those challenges with Alzheimer's?
Sure. I think especially when the Alzheimer's resident is still at home, one of the biggest challenges is providing support for the person who is with them all the time. I would recommend to family members, to children and brothers and sisters, if the primary caregiver is saying, this is getting to be too much, you need to listen to them.
Yeah.
Because they probably should have said it several months earlier.
Okay.
Typically people are waiting a long time because they don't want people to know how tough it is. And sometimes it's hard then for the families to jump up to that point of things are a lot worse than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then the advice I'd give to the caregiver is keep the family in the loop so it doesn't come as big of a shock to them when they find out this is a bigger challenge than we realized.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Joe.
If you'd like to get more information or, maybe schedule a visit at the Christian Village, once again, call Kara at 217-732-2189. Joe, I'd like to thank you again for coming in and, sharing your information with our listeners. And, you got a great facility here. We're here several times, throughout the year doing our broadcasts. And, I'd like to thank you for letting us use your facilities. And thank you for coming in this morning.
Well, thank you very much.
We'll take another commercial timeout. We come back. We'll talk some sports. So stay tuned. You're in the Cheap Seats on 96.3.